English in Minutes. Short English lessons for real life. Hello, this is English in Minutes. I'm Olivia.
And I'm Rob.
So, Rob, tell me honestly, when you think about living sustainably, what's the first thing that comes to mind?
Probably recycling bins and reusable shopping bags. Why do you ask?
Well, most people think sustainability is just about saving the planet. But here's something fascinating. It turns out that living sustainably can actually improve your mental health, and I mean significantly.
Really, that's quite unexpected. I've never made that connection before.
Neither had I until recently, and that's exactly what we're exploring today, the surprising link between sustainable living and mental well-being.
Before we dive in, let's test your knowledge with a quick question. According to research, which sustainable activity has been shown to reduce anxiety levels the most? Is it A, growing your own vegetables, B, using public transportation, or C, reducing plastic waste?
Think about that one. We'll reveal the answer later in the episode. So, where should we start? How does sustainable living actually affect our mental state?
Let's begin with something called psychological alignment. This is when your actions match your values. Let's explain that word. Alignment means when things are properly arranged or matched together. For example, the alignment of your personal goals with your career choices leads to greater satisfaction.
That makes sense. So, when you care about the environment, but your daily habits harm it, there's a disconnect.
Exactly. And that disconnect creates what psychologists call cognitive dissonance. It's like a mental tension or discomfort. But when you start living sustainably, even in small ways, that tension dissolves.
I've actually experienced this myself. When I started cycling to work instead of driving, I felt this sense of purpose, like I was contributing something positive.
That's a perfect example. And there's another important concept here called agency. Let's explain that word. Agency means the capacity to act independently and make your own choices. For example, having agency in your workplace means you can make decisions without constant supervision.
So, sustainable living gives people a sense of control.
Precisely. In a world where environmental news often feels overwhelming and depressing, sustainable choices restore that sense of agency. You're not just worrying, you're doing something about it.
There's also something quite meditative about many sustainable practices, isn't there? Like composting or tending a garden.
Absolutely. These activities require mindfulness. Let's explain that word. Mindfulness means being fully present and aware in the current moment without judgment. For example, practicing mindfulness during meals helps you enjoy your food more and eat more slowly.
And I suppose these slower, more intentional activities contrast sharply with our normally hectic modern lives.
They do. A study from the University of Exeter found that people who engaged in sustainable behaviors like gardening or growing food reported 30% higher life satisfaction scores compared to those who didn't.
30%? That's substantial.
It really is. But here's what I find most interesting. Sustainable living often connects you with community. You start shopping at local markets, joining environmental groups, or sharing resources with neighbors.
And social connection is crucial for mental health.
Enormously crucial. Humans are social creatures. When you participate in community-supported agriculture or neighborhood composting programs, you're building relationships. You're part of something bigger than yourself.
This brings up another benefit. Living sustainably often means living more simply. Let's explain that word. Simply means in an uncomplicated or straightforward way, without unnecessary extras. For example, she explained the complex theory simply so everyone could understand.
Yes, and simplicity reduces decision fatigue. When you own fewer things, when you choose reusable items over disposable ones, life becomes less cluttered mentally and physically.
I've read about minimalism having similar effects. Is there overlap here?
There's significant overlap. Both sustainable living and minimalism encourage you to be more intentional about consumption, and that intentionality creates mental clarity.
What about the financial aspect? Sustainable living can save money, can't it?
It can, especially long term, and financial stress is one of the leading causes of anxiety. When you reduce consumption, repair instead of replace, and save energy, you often spend less. That financial relief directly improves mental well-being.
So we've covered psychological alignment, agency, mindfulness, community connection, and simplicity. But is there research specifically linking these practices to reduced anxiety or depression?
There is. A study published in the Journal of Environmental Psychology found that pro-environmental behavior was associated with increased happiness and reduced depressive symptoms. The researchers used the term flourish to describe this state. Let's explain that word. Flourish means to grow or develop in a healthy or vigorous way, especially as a result of favorable conditions. For example, children flourish in environments where they feel safe and supported.
That's a beautiful word, flourish.
It is, and it captures something important. Sustainable living isn't just about avoiding harm. It's about creating conditions where both you and the environment can thrive.
Though I imagine some people find sustainable living stressful at first, all those decisions about what to buy, what's truly eco-friendly.
That's a fair point. There can be an initial learning curve, but researchers suggest starting small. Choose one or two practices that resonate with you personally. Don't try to be perfect.
What would you recommend as a good starting point?
Something tactile and immediate, like starting a small herb garden on your windowsill or committing to a weekly walk in nature. These activities provide immediate mental health benefits while being genuinely sustainable.
Nature exposure alone has proven mental health benefits, hasn't it?
Tremendous benefits. Studies show that just 20 minutes in nature can lower cortisol levels. That's your stress hormone. Combine that with the satisfaction of sustainable living, and the effects compound.
Here's a reflective question for our listeners. Think about one area of your life where your actions don't quite align with your environmental values. How might addressing that create more peace of mind for you?
That's worth considering. Now, let's return to our earlier question. Which sustainable activity has been shown to reduce anxiety levels the most? Was it A, growing your own vegetables, B, using public transportation, or C, reducing plastic waste?
The answer is A, growing your own vegetables. Research from the Royal Horticultural Society found that regular gardening and food growing reduced anxiety and improved mood more than other sustainable activities.
There's something profoundly therapeutic about nurturing life and literally seeing the fruits of your labor.
Before we finish, let's recap the vocabulary we explored today.
First, we had alignment, when things are properly arranged or matched together, like your actions matching your values.
Then, agency, the capacity to act independently and make your own choices.
Then, mindfulness, being fully present and aware in the current moment without judgment.
Next was simply, meaning in an uncomplicated or straightforward way, without unnecessary extras.
Finally, flourish, to grow or develop in a healthy or vigorous way, especially as a result of favorable conditions.
These words appear frequently in discussions about well-being and personal development, so they're worth remembering.
The connection between sustainable living and mental health reminds us that caring for the planet and caring for ourselves aren't separate goals. They support each other.
Start small, be patient with yourself, and notice how these changes make you feel.
Thanks for listening to English in Minutes. Until next time, take care.
Take care.